a former shaman, Chief Shoefoot, talks about his journey from witchcraft and demon worship to his faith in God. Missionary Mike Dawson was there to translate and has verified that all you are about to see and hear is as it was told that afternoon by Shoefoot. Shoefoot, who now goes by the name Bautista, which means Baptist, refers at times during his testimony to Joe. Joe Dawson is the missionary that was able to help Shoefoot understand who God is and why he sent his son to earth. The following presentation is a true story from a man whose life has been radically changed because of Christ. I'll never go back. A shaman's story.
I would just like to make it clear that if just anybody asked me to share this, I would hesitate to share it, because a non-believer is not really going to understand everything I'm going to say. But with you, it's like I'm with a brother, and it's like I've come back and I see you, and I want to tell you. It's like your family, like your father or your younger brother, older brother. You've been around, you've been doing a lot of stuff, and you've come back and now you're excited to share with your family what you've been doing. So if a non-believer, just anybody, comes up to me and asks me about my old ways of life and what I was like, I really, like I said, would hesitate to tell it, because I think, well, what do you want to know that for? Why do you want to hear that? I'm not interested in just telling for fun, or just to make people amuse people, in other words. It's brought back a lot of memories, and I think about my childhood and how I was first becoming. Because at that point, I didn't know anything about a God, and the only things I knew was the things that my barakaba, my elders, were teaching me. And I just think that they were right. Everything they told me was right. They were my authority. My early life was filled with taboos, things that I couldn't do. One of the things they told us was that, don't be a pig, don't eat hard. And I listened to that. And then as I got a little older, they began to tell me that even though I was still too young for most people, for most children to start drinking the bones of the dead, that they could see in me that I was somebody that was special to the spirits. So I needed to go ahead and start drinking bones, then so that it would make me more susceptible to it. And even so, at a very early age, I began to drink the bones of our dead. I was taught to drink bones at an early age, and one of the reasons they do this to people like myself is so that we grow up with hate, with the desire for revenge. Bones are never given to you to drink so that you like people or learn to love people or be real friendly. It's to make you always desire revenge, and you begin to dislike people and to hate people. So I drank the bones, and along with the drinking of the bones, they began to blow dope up my nose. And that was to make me susceptible and to make me easy for the spirits to contact. And not just anybody would blow drugs up one's nose like that. It would be the master, the head shaman, who would do it. And he would say, I'm doing this to give you my breath. In other words, his power over the spirits would be transferred through this abena at this time. This master would say, I'm doing this so that you begin to think like I think. And so desiring that power that this master had, then I let him blow the dope up my nose. At first, his demons scared me to death, and when he teaches me at night, and then when he teaches me this night, and this day, and this night, and this day, and then they won't let me eat any food and drink very little water, and I'm taking drugs all the time, drugs and chanting, and as many as the fingers on both hands. And then I remember hearing them say, don't eat, and so I can't eat now. And then they teach me in the daytime. They teach me at night. It's just going on and on until there seems like there's no end, no day or night. And at the end of this time, when these spirits come, and they actually get inside your chest and begin to make their house there, then you are a shaman. It wasn't until I met Joe Dawson that he sat down with me, and it was really funny. I think it must have just been the Lord, because at that time, Joe didn't speak very well either, but his love for me was obvious, and he was not afraid to touch me. I understood what he was saying, and I've always wondered about that. When he told me about the Lord, it was as if he knew my language perfectly, although he didn't. I understood everything that he was trying to tell me. And he began to tell me, this is what God says. This is what Yaibara says. And this is what his word says. This is what he says is wrong. And it was so funny because I understood him clearly. I understood. It was like I was tied up to this big vine all over. And so I told God, I said, if you want to help me, then that's what I need. I need someone who can untie me from all these vines that have me all wrapped up. And then after that, I would go back and I would listen some more. And we would talk some more. And slowly, I became aware of all the things that I really, really loved. Oh, like my tobacco. Yes, sir, I really loved my tobacco. You know, a lot of people here still have a lot of trouble with tobacco. And I love taking dope. Having dope blown up my nose. And I love drinking the bones of our dead. These were all things that I think God was showing me, that they were things I was putting first, that were wrong, and that they were in control of me. But yet there were things that I just loved to do. I admitted that all these things that I had, the women, the chanting, the singing of the songs, the singing of the spirit songs that I knew, I was ready to admit that they were wrong. But one thing I wanted to hold on to. I did not want to give up. I just wanted to hold on to it. That was mine. The one thing that I wanted to keep was, see, I didn't have a wife, and I was sharing the wife of a headman in the village. I tried every way I could think of to rationalize how this could be not such a bad thing. I mean, after all, I was willing to give up everything else but this one thing. This one thing I wanted to keep. So I went back out to my tree, and as I sat there, and as I was talking to God, I said, Father God, show me the things that are in my life that I'm still hiding. And this one thing that I want to keep, surely it's not that bad. And I really want to keep this one thing. And yet as I sat there and I was thinking about God, and as I was speaking to him, he told me that that one thing was sin. And that I couldn't keep it. This one thing that I had rationalized in my mind, this one thing that I had, it was the one thing that I needed to give up the most. He showed me that he does say, thou shalt not commit fornication. And he also says, leave somebody else's wife alone. And I was guilty. And he showed me that this was an area that I had to get rid of. I had smugly thought that I was okay, but God showed me my heart. He showed me that that was still there, that it had to be gotten rid of. Then I kept thinking back. Well, maybe I would go back to doing or some of the old ways. So as I kept going back and talking with God, I became very serious about looking at sin the way that God looked at sin. God, just make me like a little child. Make me like someone who has never ever sinned again. I don't want to have anything that's between me and you, so that your word can really grow in my heart. Then I can begin to spread your word and make it grow with my people. So slowly, just like I asked for it, it began to happen in my life. So I would challenge you, if you really want to have a close walk with the Lord, you need to get alone with God and just ask Him, God, show me the things in my life that you don't like. Because you know what I found for myself was as long as it was me doing the examining, I could always rationalize, and it was okay. But when it's God showing you the things in your life, He shows you the truth, and He exposes you for what you are.